Hey folks, this is Sean with another story for you, and this one is about one of my favorite natural phenomenons, and that's the Northern Lights. And I've been lucky enough to see them several times. The first time was in northern Minnesota, and the camp I was working at had a tradition that if you were staff coming off your time off and the Northern Lights were out, you would wake everybody up and we'd all go outside and lay on the fields and watch the Northern Lights, and they're absolutely beautiful. I've always been fascinated by them and looked for tales around the world to tell about them. And this one comes from Finland. And the word in Finnish, as I understand it, is revondule. And the translation is foxfire. And that's where the word comes from. This legend is my understanding. And so I'd like to share it with you. Once upon a time, a long time ago in the way time passed, all the animals of the forest were gathered for a council meeting. It was a dark night and the moon was hidden. And they were all there, bear and lynx, birds of prey, songbirds, cranes, owls. Bear was there, wolf was there. One animal was missing. That was fox. Fox often got distracted, but we'll come back to that in a minute. As all the animals were gathered on the edge of the lake, suddenly a bright light appeared on the lake. And as that light touched the lake seemed to freeze into an odd glowing color. And in the middle was a hooded figure, carrying a staff and long flowing robes with a face that looked very familiar. Well, the bear stood up and said, "What have you done to our lake?" And the being turned around and said, "Well, it's the only way I can stand here. And you know me, I'm the moon." They all looked, and indeed the face on the figure was that of the moon that they would see every night when it was out. And they said, "Well, what can we do for you?" And the moon said, "Well, you see, I am not as strong as the sun. I wax and I wane, and there are nights when I leave you all in complete darkness. And I would like to help the creatures of the night to be able to see more and find their way." The animals all agreed that this would indeed be fine. While many of them did have good night vision, some did not. And the moon continued to say, "If you can help me, your stories will be told for generations and generations to come." And while the moon was talking to the animals, Fox was out in the woods. As I said, Fox sometimes got distracted and would scamper around. In this case, the fox was following a little light through the forest, sometimes called a will-o-wisp, and small little lights would float through the forest, and Fox was chasing it over and under logs and around plants and over bushes and through little caves and all around. Finally, Fox made its way following one of these little lights and bumped into Wolf. Stopped and kind of looked up and, "Sorry." And it waddled over and stood next to the other animals as Moon was finishing talking. And Ram came up and said, "Well, how can we help?" And Moon said, "Well, come forth and step on your lake and you will see." Ram, being brave and tough, stepped out, and soon as it took a step onto the lake, which looked like ice, but it was far too warm for ice. As soon as Ram stepped on that water, a whole beautiful picture of stars appeared on the lake. And they were connected by lines to form pictures. And Ram walked out and was drawn to one set of stars in picture and stepped on it. And as soon as Ram stepped on it, his whole body began to transform and become bigger and full of light. And he rose up into the sky and took his place amongst the stars, now forming the first constellation. Other animals walked out: bear, lynx, crane, swan. And as they all stepped out and they touched the figures on the ice, they were transformed into beings of light, and they would fly up into the air, into the night sky, and take their place on the black tapestry that was slowly becoming full of these white, bright little dots. And pictures were forming. All the animals could see each other, and there was many, and throughout the night, as more animals joined the night sky, it rotated to make room for more. And the moon said, "These will be your positions and help me light the sky year round. Some of you will be here in the summer, some in the winter, and some in between. And a few of you, bear especially, you will be here all year round to protect us around with lynx. And Fox saw all of this and was amazed at what was going on. And Fox skittered out on the ice, and it stepped on one pattern of stars and nothing happened. And it skittered over to another one, pounced on that one, nothing happened. And you know, have you ever watched a fox when they hunt? They'll sometimes jump and land on their nose and they'll try to get the mouse under the snow. And it was trying that technique too, and it skidded around the ice and stopped right near Moon and looked up, the very sad look on its face. And Moon said, "What's the matter, Fox?" It said, "I just wanted to help. I wanted to be a star and help light the night sky." And Moon thought for a second and said, "Well, I never said that being a star was the only option." And just then, one of those little balls of light came floating across the lake, one of those will-o-wisps. And Fox went up to it and touched it with its paw. As it touched it, Fox began to transform, became white, and its tail became blue and green with tinges of red. And Fox began to float up in the air, and Fox had never flown before, was so overtaken with joy and curiosity, began scampering about, and as it did, these beautiful waves of light came off of its tail and covered the night sky. Well, Fox thought this was the best trick ever and began to run and scamp and jump, and the more it did that, the more the lights danced in the sky. And that's the Finnish story of the Northern Lights. And they believe that the Northern Lights are this fox running and jumping so fast that sparks are kicked up off the snow onto its tail and lit up into the glorious colors that we see in the Northern Lights. And I just love that story. I love the playfulness of it, and I love the origins of not only the Northern Lights but constellations as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're getting outside a little bit, and take care. We'll see you on the trail.